Hello, everyone. Welcome to the sessions today. We are going to share our own experiences about how to be a designer in a developer's tool company. So I am YuChien, and I'm also the staff product designer. About my professional experiences, I have about 10 years of the enterprise design experiences. Previously worked with the PwC, Morgan Stanley, Compass, and now MongoDB. My niche is turning the complex challenges into the seamless user-centric solutions. And in my personal life, I'm the minimalist and also love to be simple and love traveling around the world.
Hi guys, I'm Ten Hsiao. I am the product design lead at Mongo. And my hashtag is I love challenge. And I was an engineer and transitioned to a design. Right now, I'm leading a team at Mongo. I'm very fortunate enough to grow with company with 57% of revenue with the product. I work with a different industry and then all kind of different size of company. And I might immigrate from Taiwan to United States. And then last year I lost 45 pounds. And I also ran the New York Marathon. And then my next goal is to join the High Rocks in New York. Back to you, Chen.
So oftentimes when you think of product design or UX designer, you might think of these like consumer-facing products like Spotify, Notion, or Robinhood as we use them daily. Um, and which at least this is how I tell my mom and dad like what I'm doing as a product designer is easy to understand for them. So you may ask, so what do you do as a product designer at MongoDB? Do you need to know coding as a designer here? Or do you need to design, what do you need to design for a database? MongoDB is a leading NoSQL database company. Although developers can create the database through code, some users still need visual references. So as product designers at the company, we simplify the database creation process through the UI. Compared to the traditional database creation, we help our user manage databases easily with just a few clicks.
So today we will break down our talk into three parts. And as a database company, we have a huge amount of data processing every single day. So first we will talk about big data. Then we will talk about like how we transition from serving IC developer to serving more enterprise customer with our platform design driven. Finally, we will cover how we provide AI tool to our developer in this modern AI world. And then we will end with the key takeaway at the end.
Now I'm going to share how we simplify the big data for developers. Compared to the end consumers like you and me, our target audience is slightly different. It's the developers. So they might love Celsius, Certain.com, Game of Thrones, board games, science fictions, and more and more. But if you dive deeply into the developers' world, they are the people who graduated with a computer science degree. They would be happy if they can make things work more quickly. And also, they love solving big problems. However, the bugs or being on call could actually keep them up at night. So, what we want them to think when they use our product is like, wow, I can just create a database in just a few seconds, or I could take a coffee break because Mongo will just notify me if anything goes wrong, or they will actually prevent me all the errors. So now I'm going to share the details about how we design for developers. Not all the MongoDB designers have engineering degree. However, we do send work as other product designers, researching our target audience and understand their job to be done in their day-to-day work. At MongoDB, we are fortunate to have thousands of engineers to interview and also help us to understand the developers' pain points. So, and also additionally, we work with cross-functional teams internally, including PMs, engineers, marketing, and also customer support to deep dive into the developer's end-to-end life cycle and also understand how a service impact the multiple areas. Our database processes millions of files and data every day. This UI displays the cluster's health and performance. So, and we have continually iterated on this view and also leverage the customer data to identify the high priority metric. The layout shows the hierarchy, like the critical information will appears at the top and with less important metadata below. We also have many services across the platform, but users don't necessarily know how they can best leverage these services. With the use case driven design, we help the developers effectively complete their task. Moreover, the user can actually discover the features that they weren't aware of before. So once the user get into this use case driven flow, they will be guided step by step. We have seen tremendous success with this design, which has increased the feature adoption a lot. This is also another example of how we prioritize the primary versus the secondary data to help the developer track the task. Developers glance through the high-level data at the top and then see if they need to take any action on the detailed data below. When we design an experience, it's important to measure the success with data. These are the two projects we successfully launched and also leveraged with the A/B testing. Both of them had a really great impact on our customers. So a quick recap on about the simplified big data for developers. We're designing a way to simplify the database management and effectively visualize the big data. From simplify the decision making for the developers, analyze, prioritize, and personalize the tasks by understanding the developer's ecosystem. Provide the flexibility and bridge the coding with UI so developers can have a visual references. And lastly, we bridge the services together to make it simple and also eventually driving the feature adoption. MongoDB started as an open source project and evolved into a company. As the company focused on developers' needs, and after these design transitions, we are now loved by millions of developers. With millions of developers and increasing enterprise adoption, we have expanded our services to support more workload and transition into a platform that better meets the enterprise needs. This shift became essential as macroeconomy challenges impact the startups, highlighting the need for a strong focus on the serving enterprise customers who continue to invest at scale.
Now let's talk about the design use case for enterprise platform design. Today, we are discussing the significant shift in our focus from being an IC developer, focus on IC developer complaint to catering to enterprise needs. You might wonder, what's the difference between these two approaches? Developer focus on getting the job done, as YuChien mentioned. Their goal is to build an effective tool to streamline the work and boost the productivity. And initially, we create a single product tailored to a specific use case. Over time, with more product, we realized we could save enterprise a significant time and money, reducing the data migration, onboarding the cost while they still delivering the result. So as we expanded to serve more enterprise, we saw large enterprise have 1,000 of the developer across a different department, each building a unique tool and system. They all love our product. So our focus shift from just meeting the IC need to enable the collaboration across team. Now I'm going to show you more use case to give you a taste of how we solve this challenge. Before we jumping into that, there's a crucial business decision that influence the rest of the decision making here. I think that is the difference I want to call out before. The trade-off between the quality versus quantity in the enterprise strategy. We have a millions of the user, but not all of them contribute the same value to the company. As a result, we constantly balance our decision making. Sometimes a small group of key customers using a feature can generate multi-billion of dollars in revenue. So use case one, like taking the example for the car manufacturer company, how can they handle, the application with different workload globally? Like one database need to support different end consumer markets. Maybe one market is in Japan as much smaller database workload versus United States is their biggest market. So they have a much larger workload. They have to maximize the database performance. So how does one database scale horizontally with specific needs but optimize the cost? For this large scale enterprise workload, we focus on making the database management more flexibility. Our goal is to ensure our database configuration works well for both IC individual contributor and also the large enterprise with an intuitive, easy to use design. And at Mongo, we make the configuration process seamlessly. And instead of forcing the developer to read the long documentation before using the CLI, we build the in-product guidance and education in product. This helps them to quickly scale up and scale out as needed without reading a long documentation and making the experience smooth and also efficient. Use case two, like how do we design a critical, how do we solve a design challenge on designing a centralized management system that empower the org to scale over time while enhancing the engineer productivity? For the enterprise engineer, they often face a challenge of managing the repetitive data migration, and frequently they have to navigate between the different projects to track the progress within the different time. Some of the migration, it could take days, weeks, but even larger migration, it could take months. So we design a dashboard to clearly visualize the process across multiple project and database migration to consolidate all in one place in the org level to reducing the need switching context and streamline the workflow by creating a standardized workflow, offering the template that can be applied across different projects. Database access is also another critical requirement for enterprise. To enhance the security and control, we design various role and authentication method for centralized control to allow the enterprise to protect their sensitive data at scale and manage the access through a centralized view. These are like several framework for integrating the various enterprise components. Our North Star, our guiding principle is to always to create an intuitive developer-centric interface. We apply this to module design, focus on scalability, a centralized management system for streamlined control, integration flexibility with API for streamlined connectivity, and as I mentioned before, the security and compliance to protect the sensitive data and meet the industrial standard for the company. Again, enterprise focus on reducing the cost, focus on the business scale. A well-designed enterprise system is essential for enhancing the operation efficiency and improving the collaboration and support the enterprise growth.
In the next part, we would like to talk more about how AI shapes the future of design. As we enter the Gen AI age, we have seen the recent news like the Meta just laid off 5% of the employees to focus on AI. And you might be shocked if you have seen these news from the Microsoft leadership. The era of SaaS, as we know, it is coming to an end. I guess the real question for all of us as the designer is like, will AI take over our job? Throughout the history, from Industrial Revolution, the dot-com, and now AI, technology and the new things come up could have made people uncomfortable. However, when it happens, this new technology help the human focus on improving processes and finding better solutions. These push us to concentrate on what matters the most.
We currently we don't have a comprehensive answer for you because we are not the expert in the AI. However, we have some example on how how what we provide our customer to build the AI tools, which might give you some idea what's going to happen and maybe help you to think about what your role could be in the future. We provide our customer with a search tool for modern AI, vector search to provide a more powerful way to handle complex data type and perform similarity search efficiently. By leveraging this, our customer can enhance their application with advanced search capability. We also provide our customer with AI-powered predictable analytic feature to reduce the manual configuration and enhance the database performance scalability. We also provide our developer to easily automate the process, transition, migration from traditional SQL data to the document database, which document data, we believe is more flexible and easier to work with the AI application. So if you if you see the tool the service we have at Mongo, um, here are those tool example. We use AI to help our developer and Mongo nowadays. Like code generation, data migration, developer tool powered by AI. As a designer, we are surrounded by those AI tool. Those AI design tool like a Figma design file generation, design assets transition, design tool powered by AI. I don't know whether you notice there's a similarity between these tools, even though they serve different target audience. So hope this can able to give you some idea like how you could bring AI to your product or to better serve your customer. While we pushing those AI product and service in the design, we constantly got this question in mind like where or when should AI can help versus human judgment, or how to design AI more, come to place, but not adding the process complexity, like how AI can be accurate to give a consistent response from the library or from the limited resource, or how to, how to have a positive ROI with AI constantly reading and writing to a database or training the model. It could be pricey. How can we have a more expected ROI for the business? At the end, we find out like what we do well. We continue to laser focus on the customer pain point, the core problem, and then more streamline the workflow, and then more tangible business impact. If you don't know everything, just focus on like three principles, like improving the efficiency and generate the user value or the business value, and increase the user certifications. Through the design challenge we have been through so far, we also notice, there are key difference between the AI versus human designer. Um, AI, won't really give you a prompt or start an idea or helping the user to solve the problem. Human does. We have to be intuitive to identify the customer pain point, the problem to solve. AI lack of ability to set the overarching goal. It rely on human to kind of provide the direction versus, human designer. We could set the specific goal to align with business priority and value, while AI can analyze the data and suggest a solution. It lack a true empathy and understand of customer experience, and especially on the user journey. Human designer can bring more empathy to the design process and align them with connect to the customer on a deeper level and create a solution that truly resonates to them. Last, AI is a great providing insight on how to implement the solution, but does not set the vision or direction for the design. Versus us, like we are responsible for setting the goal, setting a vision, which guide the design process and ensuring it align with a broader company objective. Last but not least, we as a product designer, and we tend to always plan for use case and user story, and we just have to admit, like sometimes we cannot predict everything. We cannot plan for everything. Even we are well prepared, we have all the skill set because we are not the fortune teller. Oh, we are not a great fortune teller. We won't be right every single time, even we have all the skill set to predict the future use case. Therefore, here are some like small tips like that help us like in the past couple quarter, couple months, and I hope that could be helpful to you guys. Continuously focus on AI and service design to learn how to bring the new technology to the product to help your customer. And you also can check out some books like guiding to making things worth making, product that grows, UX for business to make sure like what you build have a product impact and business value in return. Also, last, apply 80-20 rule to diversify your skill set in product design, balance the product knowledge, technical understanding, and strategic the time investment for maximize your impact.
I'm going to share our key takeaways from this talk. For simplify the big data for developers, we empower the users by anticipating their next steps, even beyond the product, also enabling the flexibility and also streamlining their workflows. For enterprise-driven design, enterprises love all-in-one solutions that centralize resources and also minimize the data transition time and cost. And lastly, the AI is not our enemy, but a tool to help us to focus on the most important task. We could set a clear path for the solution and leverage the AI to achieve it. And lastly, we cannot predict everything, so we could be flexible as much as we could. Thank you for joining the talk with us today. And please feel free to let us know if you have any questions to us.
Excellent. Thank you very much, YuChien and Tan. I really enjoyed that talk, and it's kind of interesting to think because people forget that, yeah, developers have to use those products as well, and they need a nice and friendly user experience too. Great. I just have one question to get started, but if anybody has other questions out there, please do post them on whichever platform you're watching this on, and I'll put your questions through to our speakers. But one of the things, and I'll start at the start, when you were talking about kind of streamlining the presentation, you used the example of use case development. But how do you map because your example, I think you had 3 or 4 different use cases. How do you map that to your UI? So because each use case might want a different structure, or as you said, there's prioritized data and there's lower data, but depending on your use case, there's probably different data that's prioritized versus lower. So how do you, with a single UI, accommodate those different use cases?
Yeah, good question. So before we decide what use case we want to design for the user, we actually working with a data analyst to understand the percentage, what is the highest percentage of the highest task that the user need to use in this feature. And also, we also realized that there are actually a lot of the feature around the platform to complete these tasks. So that's why we decided to work on this use case driven design. And also, we are design a high level structure that can ensure the consistency. Even though the user are working on different tasks, they can still feel the consistency when they are working on the task. And then we also have a guidance walk through the user through the different steps. So even though like no matter user are on which task or in which use case, they can always seamlessly to complete the task in just a few minutes or a few seconds. Yeah.
So sorry, just to summarize, you were saying that you design for the primary use case.
Yeah. So for example, there could be 5, 6 use cases, but we try to identify what's the most important use case for the user by how much they are using right now. For example, we work with the data analysts like to understand how many users in this product are needing these this task or this use case. We also dig into the to deep dive into understand the user story, and then talk to the developers directly to understand what is the most important jobs to be done they need to complete.
If
Okay.
I could
Yep.
add on, I think we not only focus on the user requirement. We kind of analyze from the data and then tracking all the numbers for all the user tasks. But also we kind of like we work with the product manager to focus on like what other feature has the most biggest business value. I think that we're making sure we not only focus on like what customer really need, but also like to discover the business opportunity on the table.
Brilliant. That actually ties in with my next question about like the most important from a user perspective, because you moved on to enterprise. And a big challenge that a lot of designers face and a lot of product and developers is there's the kind of the sales tick the box of we need certain amount of features because we're comparing against some competitors in the market versus what's actually important, because when you're talking to people, maybe that's not actually that important to them. So how do you balance that as a team, those kind of sales driven features versus customer driven features?
I will try to take a question, but feel free, YuChien, you can jump in. I think this is a very interesting question, a very good question, Rory. Yes, when we transition to enterprise, that's why I talk about like quality versus quantity. It's very different game. And as we move into enterprise, yes, a lot of like requirement, big ask is from ourselves because it depends on this feature, this project depends on the contract. There's a contract like in the deadline and we have to hit. So oftentimes we also in the quarter we kind of like making sure we prioritize the most important thing from those big customer ask. I think that will help with the business, but at the same time, for us, from a designer, from a researcher, we also like really go out and interview with a customer. What really bothers you? What push you on hold on this one? What you make you drop? I think that is something the more bigger question we want to ask. So while we focus on enterprise, we also don't want to lose like the end developer who working on this, because I don't know whether I think every company might deal with a different thing, but when I say we transition to an enterprise, but enterprise have a different role in this company. They have CTO, they have a solution architect, they have like developer, they also have like backend developer. So they have a different role. They focus on different things while we making sure we can help sales to close the deal. But at the same time, we don't want to lose a developer because they love our company and we want to continue to do so.
So you're marrying the two levels as best you can.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, that actually brings us to time. So I just want to thank you, YuChien and Tan, for sharing that case study, and I hope everybody out there enjoyed it as much as I did.